بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
To see Salat al-Fajr, this very small number, and clearly some people maybe they're just struggling to be here just to please us. So this is another, this is a manifestation of ضعف, of weakness, and it's not something that we may present to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, being proud of, or being happy with, or being pleased with. A masjid that does not make people a Sunday morning come in the same number like Friday, to attend the adhkar before Fajr, and to attend the adhkar after Fajr, and to attend the class after Fajr. If the dynamic that we have is not able and wasn't able so far, hasn't been able so far to generate, to produce, to product, to give birth to a phenomena like that, people really looking forward to come for Saturday morning and Sunday morning, at least. We don't have a job and people are waiting for that, because these are the, and by, how to say it, by far it exceeds any mawlid, and it exceeds any gathering to attend Salat al-Fajr in group. By far it is bigger and stronger and more mubarak than any gathering of dhikr. The gatherings of dhikr that we have and the spiritual retreats, and all of that is only to, yes, they are blessed gatherings and people coming together, but to search for what? We come to the Mawlid together. The Mawlid in itself is not as a ibadah, as an act of worship, compared to Salat al-Fajr, celebrating the Mawlid, weekly celebration, as a ibadah, compared to Salat al-Fajr, it's like a drop in the sea. Salat al-Fajr is a faridah. Celebrating the Mawlid is not even a sunnah. As an act of worship, if you want to compare it as an act of worship, celebrating the Mawlid and organizing the spiritual retreats and doing what we are doing gains value only by the intention behind it, that it is a pedagogy and a strategy and a way to give people a door to enter from, an easy entrance to this religion. People who got closer, totally shut off or shut down, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. When they see that will give them taste again, that will give them, so it is. Or a door or an encouragement for people to rediscover the sweetness of being with God, because it is all being with God. In the Mawlid we celebrate it in that way too. It's a tanazzul to bring people. So and the lotus and all of this, if all these activities we are making and all this noise we are doing and all this, dervishing around and whirling and doing all of this, if the result is still 5 people at Salat al-Fajr, and clearly at least 2 of them, there hasn't been regular or have not been regular for the past 3 weeks, and they made a special effort today to not displease me. That's why they are here. And subhanallah, and it's a Sunday morning. And then we ask questions, not regarding our intentions or regarding the project itself, but we need to work. We need to work. Otherwise God has workers. He has workers waiting to work. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from being replaced, you and us. You have to understand this. You have to understand this. And you, at least maybe when you work, sometimes you forget what is the goal. So we are working for that. We are working for having this dynamic being born here and starting. We need that dynamic to start here. We need people to start coming for Salat al-Fajr, for Tahajjud, at least 1 day or 2 days or 1 day a week. They come in big numbers and they are waiting for that. And it becomes a celebration. It doesn't need to have a poster, please come and pray Salat al-Fajr. So we do these activities now with posters and events and this and that. Just, these are events to make people come, to help people discover something. But this is the goal. This is where you meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is where you meet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The 5 prayers are more important. 5 prayers of Jama'ah are more important, legally speaking, and if we talk about acts of worship, there is no comparison. There is no comparison between the act of worship of Salat al-Jama'ah and the act of worship of waiting after Salat al-Jama'ah to the sunrise, having dhikr. There is no comparison between that and having a gathering, for example, of dhikr together. There is no comparison. Again, the gatherings of dhikr that we do, they are an act of worship, yes, indeed. فضيلة مرغب فيها. But they gain value or extra value, and they become very important. They gain importance according to what they lead to. To what they lead to. We want these activities that we do, and this gathering and this company, كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا. Building this community and all of these activities and eating together, etc. We are not here to just make events. They are not an aim, they are not an end. We want that to start something, to start a sunnah for people, to start a true sunnah for people, to give people. Then we can talk about tajdeed. Only then we can talk about khalas, when you have something connected to the 5 prayers and you get people really looking forward to come to Fajr and looking forward for the class after Fajr. And when you have young people bringing their books and they want to read from their books with the teacher and having commentaries of the teacher, then you can. I'm not doing this for me or to please me. That's not the point. That's not the point. The point is to start something sustainable for people, and this is very easy. Saturday morning or Sunday morning. The majority of people do not work on Saturday and Sunday. It is very possible. It is actually the opportunity for them to come early and spend 1 hour before Fajr in Tahajjud and Qiyam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala renew our himma and your himma, our intention and your intention, inshallah. When you meet people, when people come and you meet with especially Muslim people at the Lotus, when they come, this is one of the events you have to invite people to. Come and pray Fajr with us on Sunday. Come and pray Fajr with us on Saturday. Why you think that praying Jama'ah is not an event? That's what people are looking for. That's what people are looking for. That's what God is looking for. Know that at the end, people are searching for God even if they don't know it. They're not searching for you and for your events and for your communities. If you don't lead them to God, you betrayed them. Know that at the end, people are searching for God even if they don't feel it, even if they are not smart enough or they're not conscious enough what they are looking for. Everyone is searching for God only. The difference between people, some people are searching consciously, some people are searching unconsciously, without. And subhanallah, talking about that, Ajib, I found this, I could not read. La ilaha illallah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. La ilaha illallah. That's it. No better hadith than this for this. Concerning the saying of the Apostle ﷺ, Islam is founded on 5 fundaments. It is narrated on the authority of Abdullah, son of Umar, radiallahu anhuma, that the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, the superstructure of Islam is raised on 5. Is raised on 5 pillars. بني الإسلام على 5 أو دعائم الإسلام 5. The superstructure of Islam is raised on 5 pillars. Accepting, declaring, embracing the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the establishment, how they translate it, على كل حال, إقامة الصلاة. We'll read it exactly how it is the first time and then we'll modify it. The establishment of prayer, payment of Zakat, the fasting of Ramadan, pilgrimage to Mecca. A person said to Abdullah bin Umar, which of the 2 precedes the other, pilgrimage or the fast of Ramadan? Upon this, he replied, no. It is not the pilgrimage first, but the fasting of Ramadan and the pilgrimage. I heard this from the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And it is narrated on the authority of Abdullah, same hadith, but in different wording. Again, we'll read it exactly how it is translated, and after that we'll change it. That the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, the superstructure of Islam is raised on 5 pillars. Establishment of prayer, the payment of Zakat, pilgrimage of the house, and the fast of Ramadan are the other obligatory acts besides the belief in the oneness of Allah and the denial of all other gods. It is narrated on the authority of Abdullah, son of Umar, that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, the superstructure of Islam is raised on 5 pillars, testifying the fact that there is no God but Allah, that Muhammad is his bondsman and messenger, and the establishment of prayer, payment of Zakat, pilgrimage of the house, and the fast of Ramadan. It is reported on the authority of Tawus that a man said to Abdullah, son of Umar radiallahu anhu, why don't you carry out a military expedition? Upon which he replied, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, verily al-Islam is founded on 5 pillars, testifying the fact that there is no God but Allah, establishment of prayer, payment of Zakat, fasting of Ramadan, and pilgrimage to the house. So this is one of the most famous ahadith, that the religion of Islam, one of the translations could be the religion of Islam. And when we say religion, we mean by that the structure, the path, the way, the method for those who want to become godly, for those who want to increase in their godliness, for those who want to embrace God, for those who want to be with God, for those who want to serve God. That's the meaning of religion. As a religion, like anything, like any idea to be manifested, to be able to survive, to be able to show, to give fruits, it needs a path, it needs a method. Any idea, even the ideas of a human being. Even a stupid idea like communism, for example. You have to have, communism it has pillars. You have to do this and this and this in order for you to be a true communist, in order for you to be an authentic communist, and also in order for this ideology of communism to be implemented in the life of the human being and in the society. Al-Islam as a religion, here, the first translation we give is the most common translation, Al-Islam as a religion. Al-Islam as a religion. I'm not talking about the state of mind. We're not talking about the internal state of the human being. We're talking about Al-Islam as a religion, as a phenomenon, as a religion. Like, we are talking here with the language of social sciences. Al-Islam as a religion, Al-Islam as a religion, as a method leading to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a method connecting the individual and the society to God, as a way of walking in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a structure, is founded or is built on 5 pillars. Many other things will come in the building, but 5 pillars, they have to be there. They will uphold the structure. Number 1, it is testifying, celebrating, testifying, inviting oneself to and inviting others to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. God is one. It means here denying idolatry, rejecting idolatry, rejecting any form of idolatry. God is one. The one who created is the one who is providing and is the one who is giving and is the one we should seek His forgiveness and is the one we'll meet with. He is the one. God is one. He is the master of all your affairs. God is one. You don't have to divide yourself into many beings trying to please many gods. You have only one God. Be yourself, be real, and you'll please Him. Be yourself, be real, be authentic, and give yourself totally to that one. He is the one. He's the same one. He's the same one who created you from nothing. He's the one who's given you everything. And He's the one who, in His hands, resides your happiness and your masir and your future. He's the one who the one architect, the one who designed the past of your great parents is the one who is the designer of your present moment and is the designer of your future. He's the one. Shouldn't worry, he's the same one. Things are in his hands. The past, the present and the future, he's the one. God is one. So, Shahadatu an la ilaha illallah as a pillar of a religion, of a system, of belief. We are talking here of Islam as a system of belief, as a structure, as a social phenomena. We are talking here about religion as a social phenomenon. Shahadatu an la ilaha illallah, testifying that God is one, includes inviting people to this state of mind, celebrating this state of mind, making things it starts with the basic fundamental thing, which is not having idols. We mean by that not having people running to different powers looking for different results. When they want rain, they run to a power responsible for rain. When they want money, they run to a power responsible for money. When they want security, they run to a power responsible for security. When they want to get married, they run to a power responsible to get married. When they want to be fed, they run to a power responsible for their food. When they want a bed, they run to another power responsible to give them bed. Shahadatu an la ilaha illallah is to celebrate, invite oneself, and invite people to the fact that it's only one power. وَإِنَّهُ يُطْعِمُنِ وَيَسْقِينِ الَّذِي يُمِيتُنِي ثُمَّ يُحْيِينِ هذا مرضت فهو يشفين والذي أطمع أن يغفر لي خطيئتي يوم الدين. He's the same one. As Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam said. He's the one power. When I get sick, he's the one who cures me, he's the one who feeds me, he's the one who gives me to drink, and he is the one who, before that, who created me, الذي خلقني فهو يهدين, the one who created me, and the one who is guiding me, who is providing now, and he is the one who is feeding me, he's the one who is giving me to drink, and he's the one who will cause me to die, and he's the one who will resurrect me after that. SubhanAllah, the past, the present, the future, it all is in his hand. And he is the one I seek his forgiveness as well. Because only his forgiveness is needed. Only his forgiveness is needed. Number 2, as-salat. Iqamatu salat, again speaking of religion as a social structure, as a social method to heal the society, to build a healthy society, you understand? That's the role, according to social sciences, the role of religion is to build healthy individuals and healthy society. Talking now about this religion as a method to build a society. The second pillar is iqamatu salat. Iqamatu salat, yes, establishing the tradition of the 5 prayers. And this is what we started talking about this morning. Establishing this in the life of people. Establishing this healthy routine in one's life and establishing this for people. These domes and these minarets and these mosques, and you go and visit the old cities like Cairo, subhanAllah, you get astonishing. Allah Akbar. How many minarets, how many domes, and then you understand it. This adhan of salat coming from all the minarets together, it is something has been established. Even in a time like our time, where subhanAllah, we feel estranged, even in the best of mosques. What are people, what are the prayers? You will find 1 or 2. Many people are there. Less in a city like Cairo, it's a shame. In Jam' al-Azhar, Salat al-Jum'ah, the masjid is empty. You would expect that you won't be able to enter. I came late and I was able to sit right in the front row, right near the Imam. There is no competition to be in the first row and come early and go early to the masjid and dress in white, and subhanAllah, you go to a city like Tarim, things are still being established. Salat al-Jum'ah, it is an established tradition. Still find people going there at 10 a.m., at 9:30, at 11. You go 1 hour before Salat al-Jum'ah and the masjid is full. And everyone is in white. Like flowers. Everyone is in white. 1 hour before Salat al-Jum'ah. Something has been established as tradition, as a social tradition. And it shows the difference after that. The Tarimi society and the Egyptian society, for example, there is no comparison. There is no comparison. The secret is this: the salat as a healing, the salat as a responsible, as a iqamat al-salat. This tradition, this healthy routine has been established, well established. And after that, you compare the Egyptian society to our society here. There is no comparison as well. So we need to establish the salat. We need to establish this tradition. This tradition. We need this ritual. It needs to be established. Here we are talking about salat as a ritual. We are talking about the salat with 4 rak'at. We are not following the linguistic, the literal meaning like we do usually. We'll do it in the second translation. We are translating the hadith here like everyone understands it, but let us nufa'al. Let us make these words living, at least so they understand. What's the meaning? To establish the prayer, the 5 prayer. Establishing what? It is establishing a healthy routine, a healthy dynamic in one's life and in the society life. Imagine a society that all its things, it is being murattab, it is being organized according to the schedule of the 5 prayers. Everything. Subhanallah. Establishing the salat. Yes. If we want Islam as a religion to be able to play a role in the society, talking here again of Islam as a religion with the definition of social science, social sciences. The strongest thing after the paradigm of oneness, after establishing the paradigm of oneness, of God, the oneness of the power you should seek, is establishing this tradition or this ritual of 5 prayers. Building mosques, facilitating this for people, calling for the prayer, making people come to pray, inviting people to pray, establishing the salat. And we started, subhanAllah, until we see this masjid, and it is very small masjid, until we see it really full of people for Salat al-Fajr, at least for Saturday and Sunday. Like Jumu'ah prayer or even more, because for Jumu'ah people work. It's not hard to establish a ritual if we want to. You have other religions still today going on, but they have this ritual of establishing tahajjud in the Ismaili sect or in Ismaili branch of Islam. They are Muslims. Say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They have lost few things, but they have kept other things better than us. In the Ismaili approach, for example, or in the Bohra approach, or these people, subhanAllah, you will get astonished. SubhanAllah, everyone leaves the house 2 hours before Fajr. And the Khana is filled with people before Fajr. Full with incense and people. And they have their social, but they have established that on them, and it became a structure. So to establish the ritual of the Salawat al-Khams, because it is a healthy ritual, to establish this ritual as as a way to help the individual and the society to grow healthy. Payment of zakat. The third pillar is, again, also establishing the institution of zakat. The society cannot be healthy if we have some people who are rich and some people who are poor, and the rich don't give to the poor. So the zakat is not a voluntary charity here, is not a voluntary, it's not optional, but it is a structure that needs to be there to organize and to manage the flow of money from the rich, from the hands of rich to the hands of the poor, in order for the individual and the society to be healthy. Number 4, establishing also this 1 month of spiritual retreat, this 1 month of extra devotion, this 1 month per year of extra devotion called Ramadan. It is important to establish something like that, and therefore it is obligatory. And establish this once per life or per year. It's per year, it's per year trip, but for the individuals only once in your life. Extra level of devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and making this journey really to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and cutting everything and just going to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this journey, and visit the first house, the house of Abraham, and visit these places where everything has started to reconnect. As a social phenomenon, Islam is built on these things. Everything else comes after. The hijab comes after. The beard comes after. They play a role, but they are not the... Not even the jihad, not even the fighting in the sake of God. A person came to Abdullah ibn Umar and I told him, how could you be a good Muslim? We haven't seen you fighting for the sake of God. You are just sitting here and just praying, fasting. I said, I heard from Rasulullah that Islam, as a social thing, is built on 5 things. Fighting is not one of them. It's not one of the pillars. But it is one of the stones, one of the bricks. Indeed, it has to be there. It has its place. It has its place. Sometimes if that brick is not there, everything collapses. But the pillars are these. If we want to invite people to Islam, and that should be our aim and our goal, invite people to God. We want to invite people to God, and that should be our goal. We are not here to entertain ourselves or entertain the society or entertain the human being, consumers. We are not here to build projects or to build things for people to just come and consume. We are here to invite people to God. Rumi around the fire, or Rumi around the cafe, or chocolate cake, or Saturday brunch, or whatever you are doing. Whatever you are doing should be inviting people to God. Otherwise, what are you doing? Now, different approaches. Bismillah, asalib, tata'addad al-asalib. The methods, the ways, the approaches could be different, and this approach could prove itself better than a more classic approach in this context, and this approach could prove itself better than this approach, etc., depending on. But the intention and the aim should be clear. It should be clear in your spirit. Otherwise, what are you doing? Huh? Celebrating the Mawlid, celebrating this, celebrating Ashura. Everything is about inviting people to God. Because why? Because we love people. It's not because God needs people. Because we love people and we know that people, they need God. And only God can make people happy. And people, they can only find their happiness with God. Ultimately, that's it. So we have to invite people to God. We have to invite people to happiness. We have to invite people to God. And these are the pillars. So any break that we are bringing, it should contribute to these 5 pillars. It shouldn't compete with these 5 pillars. Again, we are still talking about Islam as a social phenomena, as a social solution, as a as a framework, from the perspective of social sciences. So any activity that we should bring, it should contribute to these pillars, it should strengthen these pillars, not weaken them. So if we celebrate the Mawlid or have Rumi around the fire, and whatever we want to do, ultimately, it should lead to establishing the pillar of the 5 prayers. If these people, they keep coming and coming and coming and coming, if people keep coming and coming and coming and coming to these events, but they never put their foot in the masjid and discover the sweetness of prostrating to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we haven't done anything. With patience, with art, with heart, but ultimately that's the goal. You want them to taste to that. You want them to taste to that. Ultimately, that should be your goal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the architect, He knows. Allah. And He says the 5 prayers, He knows. We don't need to make a super ijtihad now to replace that with another pillar. He said fasting the month of Ramadan, khalas, He knows it. He said Hajj and going to that particular place, khalas. So all the spiritual retreats that we do, they should contribute to that one. They should strengthen, they should empower that one. Not replace it, empower it. Empower the spirit of it. Increase the desire, the yearning for doing it, for example. For that particular. Fasting the Sunan, fasting Monday and Thursday and fasting 3 days every month, they should strengthen the desire. One's desire and one's excitement and one's pleasure. With month of Ramadan. Praying the extra prayers, the nawafil. Praying extra prayers like that. When you enter the masjid and when they should contribute to the 1 pillar, which is the 5 obligatory prayers. Because these pillars are designed by the architect, the best architect of the society, of a healthy society, who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. God has created the human being and He knows what makes the human as individual strong and happy and what makes the society of humans strong and happy. He knows. And this architect, he has established these pillars. You understand? We should pay attention to these pillars and understand their importance for one's life and for the global, social life. and we should gear our energies and our activities towards them, these pillars. Knowing that the pillars are not the aim. And these pillars themselves are not the aim, because the aim is God. They are but pillars, they are pillars. The aim is God. And this leads us to the translation we are more used to in this gathering, which is the spiritual translation or the literal translation. Now talking about Islam as a state, as a spiritual state. Islam as a spiritual state. Islam as a spiritual state. If you want to reach Islam as a spiritual state, this full submission to God. So the first part of the speech, we were talking about the
Religion as a social science.
you are talking about the Islam as
a social science concept.
a social science concept. Now we're talking about Islam as a spiritual concept. Islam as a spiritual concept is Islam. Is to be fully submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It does not need any definition. It does not need any pillar. But it is a spiritual state, and to maintain the spiritual state and to feed that spiritual state and to prove that the spiritual state is true, or the definition of that spiritual state is this. Because some people, they will tell you, I'm Muslim, I'm with God, I'm godly. What is your hujjah? What is your proof? So he's telling you, it's easy. To be fully submitted to God means to witness His oneness in everything around you. Number one. Otherwise, your submission is but a delusion. To be fully submitted to God, to be fully in harmony with God, to be fully in harmony with the divine, number one, you have to see Him one in everything. You have to see Him in everything around you. He is the one behind everything. He is the one behind the scene, and He is the only one that should be seen, and that should be sought, and that should be seen. Number two, having a strong connection to Him. إقامة الصلاة, الصلة بالله سبحانه وتعالى. Establishing or nurturing or feeding or developing a strong connection with Him. Number three, giving oneself to be purified, إيتاء الزكاة. Presenting oneself to the purification, accepting to be purified, giving the self to be purified. So these are the five pillars are, we go from the soul, from the seeker to the soul, to the heart, to the nafs, to the body. So every aspect, every dimension of our existence has its share of this Islam. So the share of the secret, the share of the secret of the human being is to see the oneness, to witness the oneness of God everywhere. That's the sir. The sir is the heart of the soul. Now the share of the soul, which is the heart of the heart itself, the share of the soul, we share the soul what? The soul loves, the secret sees, the soul, the soul loves, the soul loves, loving, talking about love, talking about connection. So the share of the soul is to have the strong connection with the beloved one. Now, the heart of the soul, the soul, we said, it is the heart of the heart. The language of the heart is what? The language of the heart is purification, and the language of the heart is to know, is knowledge. القلب يعرف ويتعرف. نصيب القلب هو التعرف، نصيب الروح المحبة، نصيب السر المشاهدة، نصيب القلب التعرف. In order for that heart to know, it needs to be cleansed, to be purified, to be cleansed. And that's why to clean your heart, cleanse your heart, and thus ita zakat. To give your heart to be cleansed, to give your heart to be cleansed from its ego. And then we reach the وصوم رمضان وحج البيت. Sawm, it means equanimity. Sawm means balance, and to reach that state of balance. And now we are talking about your whole physiognomy, your whole thing, your whole way of dealing, your whole akhlaqiyat, your whole way of comportment with people should reach that balance. And then the fifth pillar of this state, of this spiritual state, or the fifth aspect of this spiritual state, or the fifth manifestation of the spiritual state, or fundamental also of the spiritual state, is the Hajj, is truthfulness, is the complete certitude, is to have the perfect certitude, is the Hajj. And also connecting with one's, connecting with the ancestral tradition, and connecting with the generations who came before you. Allah wa Rasuluhu, Wallahu wa Rasuluhu a'lam. This second meaning is more literal or more esoteric at the same time, but the two meanings are not fighting with each other, because establishing the 5 prayers in the mosque is not an aim in itself. The goal is ultimately for these 5 prayers to lead to that connection with God. Saying with your tongue, La ilaha illallah, is not a goal in itself. The point is, and what you are looking for is that ultimately that will lead to see God as one, see God behind everything and in everything. Not drinking and not eating for 30 days is not an aim in itself, but that social structure is there to facilitate something for us. Is to facilitate something for us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala facilitate for us the strongest and the best connection with Him. Ameen ya arhamar rahimin rabbil alameen. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barak ala sayyidina wa habibina shafi'ina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi tayyibin tahirin. Alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Al-Fatiha. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا رب علمنا الذي ينفعنا رب فقهنا وفقه أهلنا وقرباتنا في ديننا مع أهل قتل الأنثى وذكر رب وفقهم لما ترتضي قولا وفعلا كرما وارزق الكل حلالا دائما وأخلا أتقياء علما نحظى بالخير ونكفى كل شر ربنا اصلح لنا كل الشؤون واقر برضا عنك العيون واقض عنا ربنا كل الديون قبل ان تاتينا رسل المنون واغفر استر وصلاة الله تغشى المصطفى من الى الحق دعانا بكتاب فيه للناس شفاء وعلى الآل الكرام الشرفاء وعلى الصحب المصابيح الغرر اللهم اهدنا بهداك ولا تولنا وليا سواك ولا تجعلنا من خلف امرك وعصاك وصلي وسلم وبارك على سيدنا حبيبنا محمد وعلى اله واصحابه الطاهرين الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحه. بارك الله.
شفيعنا أحمد الله صلي ربي على النبي مولانا